Hey there, Pod Pals. Are you a print-on-demand creator looking to stay ahead of the curve? You want to know exactly when to launch your designs for every key season and event? How about a chuckle with an extra dad joke to brighten your day? If you said yes to any of these, then it's time to join the Print on Demand Cast VIP list. As a VIP, you'll get our free annual design calendar, an amazing guide to help you time your creations perfectly throughout the year. And of course, we'll include a bonus dad joke each week as well. Signing up couldn't be easier. Just visit printondemandcast.com/VIP and enter your email. Don't let another day of potential pass you by. Become a part of the VIP list, grab your annual design calendar, and let's dive into a year of inspired creating together. We'll see you on the other side.
Welcome back to the Print on Demand Cast. This week we're going to be talking about strategies to boost your findability on Etsy. Let's get into it.
Radical! Welcome to this week's episode of the Print on Demand Cast. Each week, join the gnarly Travis and Josiah as they provide insight into the print on demand industry and equip you with the totally tubular tools, advice, and strategies you need to achieve success and hopefully have a few laughs along the way. Now on to this week's Totally Tubular show.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Print on Demand Cast here in the Print on Demand Cast studio that is virtual, that is StreamYard. I've lost my sense of thought. I'm here with Travis, the Print on Demand Cast. He's going to be back here again, episode 195. And we got a lot to get into, Travis, and not a lot of time to do it.
That's right.
So what we're going to do, there's not going to be a point of interest. We have a really cool point of interest. We're going to push that to next week. So tell your friends that this mythical, vague, cool point of interest is coming your way next week that you'll actually be really interested in. It's actually really cool. So, but we can't get there for this episode, but we would never sacrifice everyone's favorite weekly segment in the weekly dad joke. So we're going to do that right now.
Time for the weekly dad joke.
All right, Travis, you got this one this week?
Yeah, I was watching some Marvel movies and was reminded of how cool Thor is. You know, he's the god of thunder. You know, he's thunder, noise, flash, you know, all of this. He's splashy, all of that. But his brother, he's pretty low key.
Yes, he is. My mic was muted. Go figure. But I was just agreeing with you. And when you originally told me that joke, I thought it was going to be some kind of weather-related thing, and then it just brought it back to Marvel, which I always appreciate because I do love awesome. A good Marvel movie. Exactly.
That's
right. So this week, again, like I mentioned at the top of the show, we're going to be talking about strategies to boost your findability on Etsy. And it kind of stems from, episode 177, where we talked about the print-on-demand success pyramid. And for those that may not be familiar with that and you're watching on YouTube, because remember, Spotify doesn't have video anymore, so you must be watching this on YouTube if you're seeing our faces. This is that print-on-demand success pyramid that we mentioned in episode 177 that you can go check out in the archives. But the 6 levels to this pyramid, as you guys can see, is organization, design, on-page SEO or search engine optimization, mockups, print partners, and then tools and resources. But Travis, today we're talking about strategies to boost your findability on Etsy, which would be kind of like the on-page SEO part of the pyramid, correct?
Yeah. I mean, there's a little piece of that has to do with mockups because obviously, in search, you see a thumbnail of your product. So that's part of it. But I mean, really the whole idea behind on-page SEO is to get people to actually find your product in the search or to boost it up in the algorithm. So they find it on the first page or, with your keywords that you've used to, again, boost that on-page SEO. So yeah, it's kind of it's almost like a mystery, but there are certain things that you can do really to help specifically in Etsy.
Right.
get a better rank, I mean, and that's really what we're trying to do. We're trying to show up in front of as many people as possible, for our products, of course, because that's the way we get clicks. And, the only way you're going to ever get a sale is if someone finds you in search and clicks on your product. They got to get to your page first. So that's why, organization's at the bottom of the page, but very soon, then you have obviously the design, because if your design stinks, no one's going to buy it. Doesn't matter how good your SEO is. But after that, the next level is that on-page SEO, because if they can't find you, then it doesn't matter how good your mock-ups are. And it doesn't matter what print partner you're using. And it doesn't matter what tools you used to create that listing. It's all moot because they never found you. And so that's why we're talking about how to increase that findability. So yeah, it does start with SEO.
Yeah. And step one here, we're looking at SEO, kind of where you start. The first thing maybe to address would be titles. Making sure you have a good title, really just kind of honing in on, I guess, listing in general, right? Mm-hmm. What your listing looks like on Etsy. So you've got your title, which of course is the most important, because that's what they're going to see as they're scrolling. They're not even going to see, the description, but the title not only is the first thing that people will see, but it's the most important in regards to the search engine optimization algorithm. So Travis, talk a little bit about that, because I know sometimes people want to, in my experience, people will kind of want to stuff a lot of keywords into the title because of that fact, because it is the most important for SEO. So you'll see really long, drawn-out titles. But what's your advice when it comes to how to structure titles for Etsy, or for just listing optimization in general?
Yeah, I think people, there's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of people talking, and I mean, the information we're going to give you is anecdotal. Do have some testing, A/B testing and such. But I think a lot of people, they want their listing to look beautiful and awesome. Excuse me, and which is fine. But what they do is they limit their title to, they don't really use that as a SEO optimization opportunity. And so they'll put something in it that describes the image, but a lot of times they'll use wording that they have decided, like for instance, if they're doing wall art, or if they're an artist or something, and, they're putting the thing up there, they're using the things that, maybe they named this art, Starry, Starry Night. Of course they didn't, but you get the idea. But if Starry, Starry Night was not a famous painting, how many people would put Starry, Starry Night into a bar in order to find a picture of a star-filled night? No, they're going to use, words that describe what they're looking for. They don't know what you called your thing. They don't know what you called your art. They have no idea. And they'd never put that in. And so people kind of screwed up that way. The other thing that I think people do, and I've heard people talk about this a lot, again, it makes the title look better. But I think it hurts your SEO is using spacers, commas, or, pipes, or all of those things, because what happens is all of those, as Etsy indexes all of those, your whole title, they're going to chunk those up into where the spacers are. So if you put, I'm just looking over here on my other screen. There's a, sarcastic t-shirt gift for mom, comma, blah, 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 blah. You get the idea. If you don't put that comma in, you can go sarcastic t-shirt gift for mom gift. So you get mom gift. So before you just got t-shirt gift. Now you get mom gift. You see the idea? So why it may look spammy, it's actually, until Etsy changes their algorithm and kind of cuts down on some of that stuff, it really is the best way to get people to your listing. And I don't think a lot of people are talking about this. Some people are, but other people are still recommending, using your key phrases separated by commas in your title. And I don't think that that's the best way to optimize the most important for the algorithm piece of data that you can put on your listing.
Yeah, absolutely. So next, after title, you've got your title. and you've got your tags as well. We talked a little bit about tags a couple weeks, 2 weeks ago. Kind of the purpose of the tags.
I trust you.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's all a blur. But tags, the importance of them for SEO, again, is more of a back end function of a listing, not necessarily something people are going to see on the front end. But they've got on Etsy, it's like a 20 character limit, right? For these tags. And that is just what you will use for people to find you. Use phrases you think people will search to find that product. And that's kind of where those things come into play and what you're wanting to think about as you're making tags for that nurse t-shirt or something like that. You want to kind of lean into what you feel, what would people search for to find this?
Right. And you can also obviously use, like an Everbee or an E-Rank, those types of products that will actually look at some of your competition and check out some of the tags that they're using. Now, that's not, kind of the end all be all. You can still add other tags. I do see when I'm using, I use Everbee a lot, not a lot, but some. And what I'll see is very, very generic tags in a lot of people's listings. And I'm like, well, how are you ever going to show up for Mother's Day shirt? I get the idea. It is a Mother's Day shirt and you should probably have that in your title. And, and maybe if you can't find any other tags, maybe it is, you're just trying to get to that 13th tag and you just throw that in there. So that's not saying that's a bad tag. It's just very difficult to rank for. So if you can find more unique tags and kind of pull from maybe different listings that are in your niche, and then also just think about what your buyer would type into the search bar. It's very basic. It's kind of like, oh my gosh, you mean you don't use a tool to do this? Well, you don't have to. Right. You can, but you don't have to. Obviously tags, I think they're the second ranked for the algorithm. And when we say the ranked for the algorithm, really what we're saying is that the algorithm is trying to figure out what you are presenting to the world. And so it's using the title, it's using the tags, it's using the description and trying to figure out what are the best search phrases that I can present this product for. Yeah. And so it's the title is where it's going to get the most information. Then it's going to get some more information from your tags. So it is recommended not to necessarily use the exact same phrases that you used in your title. Use those tags to expand upon the idea of your product and use more keywords if you can.
We'll be right back.
Money is all around us, and we think about it more than almost every other aspect of our lives. But how can we make more of it, and what's our drive for building wealth beyond just the numbers in our bank account? Join us on the Make More podcast as our host Matt Heslin brings to you a dynamic lineup of experts in the world of investing, business, health, and beyond. Together, they unpack the secrets to not just surviving, but thriving in today's economy. It's about more than just wealth. It's about crafting life experiences, seizing opportunities, and building a legacy. Subscribe now to the Make More with Matt Heslin podcast and join us every week for new expert insights and inspiration.
Yeah. And then the tags, going into the next piece, you can use some of those tags at the top of the description, which is kind of the next thing that is going to be important for SEO. And the first part of the description is weighted more than the bottom. So you want to make it look nice. Here you can use dividers, capital letters, etc. It doesn't necessarily help you get clicks, but it's a good strategy to make it look professional, look crisp, look clean, and making sure that you're adding all the pertinent information in there as well.
Yeah. The reason you add the tags to the top is, again, because it's weighted higher in the algorithm. It's just another place to you can use new keywords too. You can kind of repeat the most important ones. You don't have to use them all, but it doesn't really look that bad. I mean, when you see it, and you can use commas here, kind of treat them like tags, just additional SEO juice, if you will. And then below that, that's where all your information goes. That a lot of times it's the same information on, all of your products. If you're just selling t-shirts, for instance, or you're just selling Bellas, you're talking about the Bella, you're talking about the shipping times, you're talking about, the return policies, all of those things. Those are obviously less weighted. So those can go towards the bottom, but I would use your tags or some keywords at the top, and then maybe write a sentence about it. Maybe have ChatGPT help you. Hey, use these tags to describe a blah, blah, blah. And it'll output it. You can throw it in there as part of the top part of your description, again, to maximize your SEO. Basically you're just trying to tell Etsy what it is you're selling and why you should be ranked high.
Absolutely. The next piece is pricing, like sales. I know, Travis, you wanted to kind of show something in terms of Etsy. We can throw up here real quick as well.
Mm-hmm.
But talk a little bit about how sales and pricing, what that can do for findability on Etsy.
Right. So I just typed in Mother's Day t-shirt. I'm sharing my screen on Etsy here. And, you see a lot of things. A lot of them are, you'll see some advertisements and such, and some of these are obviously digital products too. So they don't necessarily count, I guess, if you're talking about just t-shirts. But so this shirt here says mama, mommy, mom, bruh, which is pretty funny. You can see what you can see here is you see who it is. And then you can see this sale that they've got going on, which gives them a green like thing on the search that draws your mind or draws your eyes to it. To the left, you got this other one that says bruh, formerly known as mom. It also has an additional piece here that says sale ends in 11 hours. And the way you do that is you literally go in every day and you set a 24-hour sale. And you can do this all in one day, for the whole month. And each day you're running a 24-hour sale. So you get a little bit more eye candy, if you will, in the search.
Sure.
So that's this one over here on the far left. You can you can't see my cursor, but it's the far left one here. It says $9.97. Now, the interesting thing about these products that you're seeing here is they're using pricing to show an extremely low price. I mean, if you see this, oh my gosh, this is
$8.50.
$8.50. Holy crap. That's an incredible deal. So I click into it and let's see, now I'm going to share this tab and, you see $8.50. Wow, that's amazing. And so you go down here to select your size and you go, okay, I want a unisex extra large. And all of a sudden it changes to $16.92. What happened? I select a color and, it doesn't change anything. So where did that how did they get that? And so you go in here and you look all these prices here and you realize, oh my gosh, there's a onesie for a 24-month-old or a 24-month-old baby that's $8.50, but it's also $18. So only one of these colors here.
Just so you know,
maroon.
when you're clicking the drop down, we can't see that part. Yeah, we can't see that part, but understand I think we understand the idea is that price it's like the loss leader to get you in the door. And then you're like, oh, I want a large. Right. Well, oh man, it's $16, but I really like that shirt. So,
I'll go ahead and buy it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Not to mention the fact that, they had that sale on there, which again makes the number green.
Yeah.
I'm going to actually go back. Let's see if I can share this tab again. And you can see the difference between, say, this product, the Mama on the top left, and then this one. And you see it just says $25. There's no mark off. There's no green. There's nothing drawing your eye toward this.
Right.
And so again, these are all just things that you're just trying to get people to click on them. So this is not only how you would use pricing, and use sales to get that green stuff, but that green stuff on the actual search results page to get them to click in. But it also, you can use these loss leaders, and you can do this, it's kind of a gray area, should you do that for the 24-month,
right?
Whatever. But I mean, you could make it to where you're just breaking even on a particular style, and everything else you're making profit on. So maybe you think, well, I'm just going to sell all my white t-shirts at break even. You can sell all those at break even, and you don't have to do it just one size. If you want, just do a small or something, and then you're going to get that super low price on your listing.
Right.
I mean, you see a lot of people doing it. I think people are kind of like Etsy buyers are, they figured it out, but they're okay with it. I mean, it seems that they're okay. So those are, some strategies that you can use right there just to increase your searchability and kind of hit that middle section of the print on demand success pyramid. Again, it's episode 177. If you haven't listened to it, it's a really good episode, if I do say so myself, and it'll help you kind of get some ideas around how to organize your business, and then what's most important, because most people come into this business and they focus on the top part of that pyramid, and they focus on the tools and the resources, and then who's going to print my stuff and the print partners and all that before they even get into selling anything. And so don't flip the pyramid upside down, start it from the bottom. And as you learn about these different pieces of the pyramid, that's when it really becomes important to figure out how you can use tools and resources to help you do those things. But you got to know them first. You got to set things into just get them going before you're, spending hours researching E-Rank or Everbee. Because it doesn't matter. And, if you don't have any listings, anyway.
And the last piece, Travis, we can touch on real quick is mock-ups. So kind of run down kind of the bullet point list of what we need to know for mock-ups, why they're important. Obviously, why they're important is it's what the people see. You want it to be engaging. What you showed on your Etsy store, a lot of those were lifestyle mock-ups, and they look really good. They're not just on a plain flat white wall, and they're engaging. But what else about mock-ups is important to know when it comes to the listing process?
Yeah. So I think one of the things that you can do is inside each listing, you have the ability to crop your mock-up. And so, for instance, this is that mock-up we were talking about earlier, and you can see this, it looks really good. This looks great. However, if you look at it in search, it looks a little bit different. So you see how first of all, it's square, not rectangle. And you can tell it's closer. So it's closer to the camera, if you will, or, it's bigger, I guess, on screen because they've zoomed in. So they made sure that you can see the design. If you can't see the design in your, if it's a really small text or whatever, and you just kind of leave it as is and you don't zoom into it or you don't crop it to where your mockup's going to look good, no one's going to be able to read it. And so they're not going to click in. If they can't read what's on the shirt or they can't tell what it is, they're not going to click into the listing. This really can make or break your listing, so you want to make sure you see all of these across here. They're all zoomed in to the actual shirt. If you clicked into each of these, they may look a little different. Let's click into this one and use this tab instead. Very similar. Okay. So they didn't really have to zoom in because they're using a 9:16. If they were using a 16:9 widescreen, they might need to zoom in. So it really depends on what your mock-ups are actually, what size they are, et cetera, if you need to zoom them in. But you can look at it, you can preview it, and you can see what it's going to look like, at the end. You can go to your store and look at what it looks like just in your store to kind of test. And then, maybe I need to zoom in, go back to the listing, zoom it in, make sure that people can read it. And make sure it's Etsy-ish, like on Amazon, you just have to do a t-shirt on a white background. It can be on a model, but it has to be like a white background. On Etsy, you can do a lot more with your mock-ups. But potentially specifically your first mock-up. And then from there, you can put all your ancillary images and all your size charts and, all of those other things as well. But it's really, when we're talking about increasing your findability, which I don't think is a word, but that's okay. Maybe it is.
It is now.
It is now. Findability on Etsy is what we're talking about. So we're not necessarily talking about the mock-ups on the page. We're talking about that first one, because that first one is the one that people are going to see in search, along with all of these other, the green price and the sale is going to end, and, all of those other things that you see. So in combination, it's going to give you the best shot at actually, if someone comes across your listing, it's going to give you the best shot of them actually clicking into it, as long as your design is good and all of these other things are, like we've talked about.
Yeah.
That design is like pretty low on that importance on that
Yeah.
pyramid. And that's for a reason.
Yeah, for sure. Other thing to know too is, where can I make these is a question sometimes. Like what if I'm not a graphic designer? Well, there's lots of different options.
Right.
You can make your own. You can take your own pictures. You can stage. I know, Travis, you have or have, I don't know which, if you still have it, but that box, that like light box, you can set stuff in, take photos, add elements, arrange it, and just take them yourself and add image layers. So you take a picture of the blank shirt and you can just put the design on the shirt itself, in a Photoshop or in Canva or Vexels, whichever. There's lots of other options that you can use that aren't necessarily Photoshop. And then, if you don't want,
Kittl has a really nice
Kittl. Yep.
mock-up,
Kittl's great. You can use Placeit. Placeit's very drag and drop friendly, lots of colors. I think we've talked about how they have videos there as well that you can use. So there's tons of options and tools out there to where if you don't have the ability to make a mock-up yourself, that there's programs and softwares out there that make it super easy for you. So that's not something that really is an excuse to keep hanging your hat on, because there's so many solutions out there for you to use.
Yeah. I'll give you a little tip on Placeit. If you have a subscription to Placeit and you're using Placeit mockups, if you do a search for a specific type of mockup, try to go like down like 10 pages, into the search results, because as they put them out, they're, the newest ones are kind of coming on the scene, and people are using those. They're not going in as deep a lot of times.
Yeah.
So they'll find that mock-up on page 1 and they'll use it. And so you'll see it a lot. And so if you're going to use it, I would think, it would make sense to kind of dig in a little deeper, get a little further into the search results, and use some of the ones that maybe some of the people who are just starting out aren't using in, all the time. If it's a Bella 3001 or, or whatever the mock-up is, just dig in a little deeper. Yeah,
for sure. Anything else, Travis, when we're talking about this list? I know we're running short on time, and this probably might be a historically short episode of the Print on Demand Cast, and the listeners may be rejoicing. I don't know. They might be happy. But nonetheless, anything else you want to add to this list?
Gosh, I mean, we could talk a lot more about it, but I really think if you're really focusing on your on-page SEO, and then you're taking advantage of some of the ability to use your sales. So what that means is that you have to price your stuff up, higher, so you can bring it down. But then it also means that if you forget to set your sale, you're not going to get any sales, because it's going to go up to the higher price. So you have to be committed to that strategy if you're going to do it. But I think if you can combine all these different things, I think you'll have a lot better opportunity to be found on Etsy. It's as simple as that, and let us know how this works for you. If you're implementing some of this, and go ahead and change, actually go ahead and duplicate some of your listings and use some of these strategies on them, and just kind of do an A/B test. That's a good idea too. I mean, it costs you 20 cents for the listing. So go for it. See what happens.
See what happens. And yes, let us know. There's lots of ways you can interact with us on social media or email. One thing you can do as well to stay in the loop of all things that are going on is go to printondemancast.com/VIP. This is a shorter episode, but will there be extra stuff in the newsletter? You never know. There might be. Sometimes there is. We cover things that we don't cover in the show, or things that are going to be on the show, or you get to see that Travis and I get really good seats to hockey games sometimes. But that's also good for you to know. You just get to know us a little bit more. And in exchange for that, we will, of course, not spam you. We'll send you one additional email a week. It'll have a bonus dad joke and also a design calendar to help you plan what you're going to be selling, what those sales are going to be on some of your listings, because Mother's Day is coming up or 4th of July is just around the corner. Are you designing for 4th of July yet? You should be, because it's coming. So it'll help you kind of keep your life on track in that way as well. Travis, anything else about the VIP email that you want to touch on before we wrap this thing up?
Nope. I think you got it all, man.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're excited to be back next week. Again, tell your friends a point of interest. A cool one is coming. Tell them that they're going to want to be listening when the episode drops. We're not going live with this, so it's not like be there. But just set your notifications and share it with your friends, because it'll be something that you'll want to show them, because it's really cool. All right. So until then, for next time, my name is Josiah for Travis. We'll see you next time right here on the Print on Demand cast.
See ya.
Hey, babe, thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Print on Demand cast. We hope you enjoyed the Totally Tubular Show. If you got a question or a suggestion for the show, send Travis and Josiah an email at info@printondemandcast.com. Want to be wicked nice? Take a minute to rate and review the show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to subscribe now so you don't miss next week's episode. See you next time, for sure.
In a world where businesses everywhere are trying to make print-on-demand sales, one podcast goes above and beyond every week to bring the most POD-specific information there is, all to help save the day, every day. Don't succumb to the enemies of your print-on-demand business. Sign up today for the Print on Demand Cast VIP email at printondemandcast.com/VIP. This time, it's for real.